topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Camping Show. I'm C.W. Getz.
And I'm Willow Munson.
It is Wednesday, December 1st, 2021, and we have a 50-degree sunny day. Actually, it's getting dark here now. That's that time of day, that time of year. But 50-degree sunny day here. Willow, what's your weather down there in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania?
Well, it's already pitch black outside, but we've had really unexciting weather. 50s, little snow yesterday.
Wow, nice. No accumulative snow, though, right?
Nope, not yet. We're still too warm and humid.
Yeah, so there's no shoveling yet, but it'll come, I'm sure, right? Soon enough.
We'll see.
Well, tonight's episode is brought to you by Sandsbug, the quickest tent you'd ever pitched.
Campground Views, making camping easier.
By Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water.
By Camp More, the store that gets you out more.
And by Duluth Pack, made in the USA since 1882. Well, tonight's episode is backpacking through the camera lens with our special guest, Cece Boyle. Willow, could you tell us a little about Cece, please?
22-year-old professional photographer and outdoor adventurer from Duluth, Minnesota, Cece Boyle combines her love of photography with a passion for the outdoors. She's an experienced hiker, backpacker, whitewater paddleboarder, mountain biker, and Nordic skier who's also experienced living off-grid for 6 months. In addition to adventuring in photography, Cece also enjoys working with the sled dogs at Endurance Kennels in Duluth, Minnesota. Most notably, Cece received an artist grant to through hike the Superior Hiking Trail for the purpose of sharing her experiences with the people she met throughout that adventure.
And professionally, Cece specializes in producing photography images for weddings, portraits, and various brands, including K2, Superior Paddle Academy, Skinny Ski, and others. And with that, welcome to the show, Cece.
Welcome, Cece.
Hey.
I'd like to introduce you to, you don't know each other, but...
No, we've never met before.
Yeah, you're good friends as I understand it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we met whitewater paddleboarding through Superior Paddle Academy in Duluth last semester, last year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like
Two
that.
summers ago, mate. No,
Two summers? Something like that.
It's been a while.
And Jared Munch is a friend in common then as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jared's been on the show before. Yeah, absolutely.
Little
It's a little family affair then, basically, right?
reunion.
Yeah. It's fun.
Good deal.
So, Cece, how long have you been backpacking and how did you get started?
I started about 4 years ago, and there was a orientation trip at my college, and I signed up for the backpacking because it was rated most extreme. So I was like, sign me up. And that's kind of how I got started as an 18-year-old. Yeah.
So you were still in high school then when that
It was just out of high school, about to start college.
Yeah. But hey, that's the best time in anyone's life when you're graduating high school. It's like, yes, man, I'm out, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, what's your favorite aspect of backpacking, by the way?
Anyone can do it, and the purpose of it is just being out there. You can hike really far. I like that everyone kind of takes their own approach to it. Some people are speed hikers, others are they take it more slow and easy. So It's a really inclusive outdoor activity, and you can do it as extreme as you want or as simple as you want.
You know, I have to tell you, when I was in Boy Scouts, we used to go backpacking, and of course we didn't subscribe to the, we weren't checking the ounce of everything and sawing off our toothbrushes or anything like that. So we had some pretty heavy stuff in there. I know we did, but I'll tell you what, it was a lot of work. And I was, I was young and I could do quite a bit, but I'm telling you, those packs got heavy awfully quickly. And I'm thinking, man, you got to be in some shape,
Yeah.
decent shape to backpack. I mean, you just don't throw a pack on going, yeah, I've been in front of the TV for about 6 months, but I'm gonna head out there and see how it goes. You just don't do that, right?
I mean, you could. You could.
I mean, do you train before you go do these things, or you do you stay in shape all year round?
I
Probably.
kind of stay in shape all year round. Like backpacking and mountain biking, canoeing, like any outdoor activity is definitely up my alley. And then I did a little bit of training before it, but
Okay.
mostly just like overall fitness is an important part. You could just go out there with no experience though.
Yeah,
But
you'd
you're
be.
more prone to injury.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna say
the
you'd be
biggest
like
thing.
you'd be hurt. You'd be like, oh man, But I mean, do you go to a gym and work out, or do you just at home do some things with
Just
some?
at home. I'd say my workout is kind of like running with friends. Just it's whatever the season and the weather is here in
Oh,
Minnesota.
okay. I mean, you don't sit in the living room with dumbbells and things like
No.
that, and you're working out or anything like
I
that.
wouldn't be a gym rat or someone that lifts. That's not really who
I
I
mean,
am.
I recently started yoga. I mean, that's really helped get me in shape too. I mean, do you do any of that?
Yeah, I do a little bit of yoga. I
Yeah.
mean, not too much anymore, but last week I was at a yoga class, so I don't know.
My yoga instructor beats the hell out of me. She really does. And she's like, hey, no, you'll do this and like it. But yeah, go slow. What is it? Go slow, you'll see more. I don't know who that was up there with the comment, but there's got to be some truth in it. I mean, you don't hustle through the woods, do you?
No, I guess if the weather's bad, there were a couple of days where I've hustled through. You're like, there's a storm coming, gotta get to camp, have a tent set up. You don't want to
Yeah.
get dumped on while
So
you're trying to like cook dinner.
so there are some lollygagging days. In other
Oh
words,
yeah.
yeah, take it slow.
Couple days where you can like just sleep on rocks and
There you
take it
go.
easy.
It sounds comfortable, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's all good.
So, what parts of the country have you been able to explore so far?
I have primarily would say I'm like a Midwest backpacker. So like Pictured Rocks, which is in the UP of Michigan. The Superior Hiking Trail is a big spot close to my house that I backpack at. And then like last week I was in Las Vegas hiking at the Valley of the Fire. So did a little desert hiking for the first time. That was
That's so cool.
yeah.
And how did it compare to the Superior Hiking Trail with all of its woods?
The biggest part, like, that we're kind of spoiled with in the Midwest is all the lakes and streams and, like, bodies of water nearby, where in the desert, it's like you're hauling a whole day's worth, or you're just, like, thirsty, like, really thirsty. It's a different kind of, like the humidity in the Midwest, is a nice part too, where there's a lot of, like, water in the air. The desert was totally different than that, so
Do you feel we were just talking about that before the show? What is that? America's song. The heat was hot and the air was dry. So you can attest to that, right?
yeah, definitely.
I would assume that when it's. I remember just working out in the humidity. That seemed to beat me up worse than being dry. I mean, is that same with you? Do you find that to be true with yourself or no?
I would say yeah, um, but the sun's not as hot, like, there's more shade and, like,
Oh,
I think it's
yeah,
different. I don't know.
yeah.
You're tired when you have weight on your back and you're walking all day, so
And you have
hard
to
to
hydrate.
tell.
Yeah, you have to
Have to
hydrate.
hydrate, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, do you ever have any aspirations of going hiking and like through the rainforest or things like that or no? Tropical.
Yeah, I'd love
Do
to
you
check
really?
out, like, Patagonia or do some, like, more mountain climbing, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Have you
I'm always available if you need a buddy.
see, I think the tropical stuff would be more interesting. Don't you think you'd find, I don't know, because I live in the Midwest and I've been here most of my life, but um we know what we're gonna find out there. But wouldn't it be cool to like do the tropical stuff and encounter
yeah,
never
the biggest thing is, like, learning all the different things to be scared of in, like, each environment or, like, what animals to avoid and, like, what plants will get you. In the desert, it was like, okay, they had a bunch of rams, and I'd never seen a ram before, and just knowing, like, what's the right protocol to,
yeah.
like, problem solve in the new environment, and the rainforest has all those poisonous frogs, I don't know if I'd
They do. They do. Cool, cool, nasty, wicked stuff down. I mean,
Yeah,
but you encountered scorpions in the desert, right?
not it was fall, so they
Oh, really?
technically are, like, hibernating, which is a good
Okay.
time to visit the desert, I guess, like, fall,
Yeah.
winter.
Yeah, that's what's been your favorite place so far? Speaking of all these.
Pictured Rocks is like a special spot in my heart in like the UP.
And so
Breathtaking views.
why? Okay, I was just going to ask you why that is. Why those places stood out to you?
The lake, like it's Lake Superior. The water was super blue. Um, the camp had like takes about 5 days to backpack the whole thing. So it's a good like intro trip and starting one if you're just getting into it. And then it's pretty flat and you have a good mix of terrain from like rocky shoreline to sand and like wooded areas as well. So it was a good 5 days of hiking that you can
Yeah,
really see a lot of different
it
stuff.
is. As far as photographing some of this stuff, what would be your favorite place in that aspect?
Oh, every spot is different. Like the way the light hits it, you just see
Hmm.
different things. I used to not bring my camera along on like hikes and trips for backpacking, and now I can't not have it with.
You're
So
right.
like weird like cloud formations will happen or you'll just see something and it'll kind of stop you in your track. So now I like whip out my camera and we'll take a shot to capture that like feeling.
Let me ask you this: Have you ever experienced something and go, God, I wish I would have had my camera? And then after you say it's like I can't live without it. Now I can't go without it. And then going, I wish I could see one of those sunsets or one of those, cloud formations that I saw when I didn't have my camera. You ever experienced that?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
couple times, but I try to let it go as quick as possible, because there'll be another one in the future, like, you'll
Yeah.
think great again, and sometimes you get to storm away in your head
Yeah.
for the
Right.
future, which is fun.
Yeah. Do you know it when you see it? I mean, it's like something, bam, you go, yeah, I'm taking a picture of that. I'm
Oh,
shooting.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something you have to think about, I'm sure.
No, it's like second nature.
When you see it, you know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, can you give us a basic rundown of the type of gear that you pack? Because, as I understand it, there are different styles and philosophies with regard to gear. Is that correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't call myself an ultralight, backpacker, which is ultralight is where you bring the lightest stuff possible. So your pack, like, base weight would be, like, 18, 20. That's kind of like 18 to 20 pounds. That's a pretty normal, like, ultralight weight. I carried about 60 pounds on my through hike, and the more I backpack, the lighter my pack gets, the less stuff I bring along, and, like, the more I refine my, packing processes and, like, gear that I bring with. But the best thing is just getting out there and you'll learn from people on trail what's useful, what's not useful.
That's a
Um,
big difference.
I was just going to
60
say that.
and
Thank you.
60
yeah.
versus 20.
What?
Yeah. When I started, I like didn't have all the money to buy like the ultralight tents weigh like 2 pounds, but they cost like $800, which is awesome.
Right.
But when I started, it was not something I could like feasibly afford. So the gear I had on my uh, SHT through hike was incredibly heavy. And yeah, it's an insane amount of weight to carry, but you get stronger, you adjust to the weight as you go, and figuring out the organization of like what weight is best on what side was helpful too as I went.
Okay. So I don't mean to be rude, but how much do you weigh?
I weigh about like 140.
140. Okay. So
Yeah.
is there some sort of proportional? Here's what's a comfortable weight for a person that weighs this much should carry before they're like dead, after like.
Oh, I have no idea. On like the lighter, the better. That's what everyone
Well,
in
yeah. Right.
backpacking
Right. Right.
says.
But like we had camping with horses, with equestrian camping on, what was it, Will, a couple weeks ago?
2 weeks, yeah.
And those horses are what was the percentage? But it was something like 200 pounds for a 1,000-pound animal or something like that. It was like what was it, 20% of the weight, 10%, whatever it was. Do they have that for hikers, or are you aware of that sort of thing?
They might. I know they have it for dogs. Like I brought a dog on my through hike on the SHT and
Okay.
Alice carried it was 10% of her body weight. That's what like
Oh,
the
wow.
internet recommended. So she
Wow.
only had like 5 pounds. 5
Yeah,
or 10.
camper
Yeah.
69. Wow, 60 pounds. How do you, and that's what I was wondering. How do you walk? Uh, like Willow said, that's a huge difference. So 18, let me ask you a question. A tent at 2 pounds. What kind of tent is that? Because I don't even know about those.
They You can do like tarp tents. That's a common, but in Minnesota you need that like screen netting.
Sure. Black
Um,
flies and whatnot. Yeah.
I think like Big Agnes makes a really ultralight tent, and a couple of those other bigger name brands have them.
What are you carrying at 18 pounds? I think my shoes weigh that much. Yeah. How much? I mean, what's all in your pack? Like Willow was
Oh
asking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so if you have an ultralight pack, a lot of people's like first aid kits are really small.
You get like
They'll
what, two
take out
Band-Aids or what?
yeah, but like luxury items like a chair or
Oh, wow.
like a bigger pot are taken out. It's just like single use for one person. You're only bringing what you need and nothing else.
So you're cooking your meals on one pot, basically. You're all one
Yeah.
pot. Yeah. You're not doing gourmet stuff.
No, and a lot of folks too will just like boil water in like a little cup, and then we'll dump that in a packet of something and let it
Okay.
cook.
Like
I
a
wouldn't call it
freeze-dried
cooking.
like a
Yeah, it's like a
freeze-dried meal.
freeze-dried meal.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, so you're taking, I mean, are you got a whole toothbrush or you half one? Like where you saw
I
that?
have a half one, yeah.
You did you really? Sawed your
Yeah.
tooth. So this includes your food though, right? For how long are we talking? 18 pounds. I mean, that's just incredibly light.
Yeah, so well, I carry like closer to 50, but folks that carry 18 will do like all freeze-dried,
Okay.
and that kind of makes it lighter.
Yeah.
And base weight doesn't account for food and water, as that weight like changes all the
okay.
time. Yeah.
How
So
many
you can
changes?
drink all your water.
How many changes of clothes do you take?
I bring like one t-shirt and then one long sleeve for bugs, and then usually a puffy coat in case it gets cold at night.
So that's you
And
just
then
have
depending on the time of year, yeah. And those cool camping pants with the zip offs, those are my
Right.
favorite. Yeah.
You got one change of clothes basically with you, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Are you doing any laundry out there? I mean, do you stop when you're at camp and you go, okay, I got to wash my clothes because I'm only bringing one change of clothes, and you're out there for what, a week or two or something like that, right? You do some laundry, do you?
I'm a big fan of like going into town or having someone like drop off new food
Okay.
and clothes.
Food drops and
But
clothes drop. Okay.
I do know people that have like washed their clothes off pretty quick in the stream or like a creek. There are
Mhm.
other thru hikers I met who are doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it works, but it's better than nothing.
Well, or you could just stink, and that's all good because nobody
Yeah.
smells you. You're out there
No
by
one
yourself.
cares. Yeah. You're out there by yourself.
Do you take a water filter like a pump, or do you carry water with you? I mean, of course you have a canteen that you're gonna, but do you don't pack your water, do you?
No, yeah, I bring a pump. I bring the MSR Guardian water filter,
Okay.
and that one's pretty popular with canoers. A
Yeah.
lot of backpackers use I'm blanking on the name. It's the Sawyer Squeeze.
Oh, okay.
Super light, really
Yeah.
tiny. I would recommend that if you're new to backpacking, not a big pump filter.
Yeah. What are you doing for a stove? I gotta have to ask.
Yeah, I use
And fuel.
it's like a jet boil kind of stove, and then a small I think it starts as 4 ounces for propane fuel.
Okay, so is it butane butane, easy for me to say, butane propane mix, or is it straight up butane or what?
I would say straight up butane, yeah.
Okay. And that's not for cold weather because we know butane, how that performs in cold weather.
Oh
but
yeah,
or doesn't
definitely.
perform, yeah.
Doesn't really work, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a break, but don't go away. We'll be back with more of The Camping Show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV after these messages.
I love camping, but hate setting up and packing. Sound familiar? With the SansBug pop-up tent, you simply toss it in the air. Bug-free in 1 second. Cliff Jacobson, America's most published wilderness expert, has this to say. At well under $100, these tents are a bargain. They are not toys. With a well-designed tarp, they should withstand a long, heavy rain. I'm impressed by the full coverage fly. It stakes right into the ground. No short cap fly for the wind to get under. In all, I think you have an excellent product here, even though it's one designed for casual camping. Namely, the kind of camping most people and scouts do. The SansBug has been used by the U.S. and Canadian military, disaster response volunteers in Haiti, ecologists in Madagascar, and doctors in the Amazon. SansBug, the quickest tent you've ever pitched. Find us on sandsbug.com.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutabaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
It's time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sites, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
Camp Moore in Paramus is open, and we're fully stocked with everything you need for your next outdoor adventure. Stop in for safe in-store shopping or buy online with curbside pickup. Check campmore.com for our latest hours. Camp Moore, for over 40 years, your outdoor recreation store.
Duluth Pack is handcrafted for every lifestyle, making memories since 1882. In store at 365 Canal Park Drive or online at duluthpack.com.
And we're back with our guest, Cece Boyle, on The Camping Show. Cece, do you mostly do solo trips, or do you sometimes go with a group?
I'd say I started going with a group, and now I've ventured out to more solo.
Oh.
I went with friends at the beginning to kind of learn what I was doing. A lot of my friends are camp guides, so they had all the stuff and the knowledge. Yeah. And now as I keep doing it, I definitely kind of like going solo. I like to bring a dog with, though. But
you prefer the solos. That's interesting. Yeah. Well,
it's a lot more work, though. You can't someone's pitching a tent when you're with a group. It's like you can multitask and get stuff done. Like
absolutely.
One can pitch a tent, one can start dinner. It's a lot quicker, but
absolutely, yeah.
It's nice having that alone time.
Why? I was just going to say, why do you like that? But yeah, that makes sense.
And so with doing solo trips, are you ever apprehensive about being a female going solo out there on the trail?
I mean, it's sometimes it's easy to get in your head alone, regardless of gender, I think. But I would say I feel safer sometimes on the trail than in big cities or at the local Walmart. So for me, it's definitely a nice space to be out and independent and doing things on your own as a woman. It takes a little bit of practice, but to be completely self-sufficient is really empowering.
You know what? Can you put up that comment or that question we had from Camper 69, Roxy? I hate portaging with 42 pounds. Don't know how she backpacks with 60 pounds. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, that's impressive, man. That's impressive. You must be super strong. You must be working out seriously and not living here with those dumbbells.
I guess. I just stay active. I used to be a college skier, and that helped. And then now I work with sled dogs in the winter, and that's probably the best strength training, hauling all their food and holding back all those dogs.
Not going to mess with you. Or not going to lie, I wouldn't mess with you. If you can do that, I'm telling you. Have you ever had any scary incidents happen to you while you were out there solo?
Ooh. There's been one time I went out by myself. It was my first time going solo, and I just got super in my head. And I'm not a fan of hiking in the dark. and I was terrified. I didn't have the warmest sleeping bag, and I just hiked home. There was nothing scary about the situation other than it was dark and I got in my head too much. But I did get picked up by a group of women, I would say like almost like hippie women that I met on trail. And it wasn't too scary, but their hospitality was incredible.
Cool.
On day 10, I needed a shower and warm food. I was kind of losing morale.
Oh.
And these women like took me in, let me sleep like I had a sleeping pad on their ground, but gave me a warm place to sleep and food. And we just sat around their table, like talking all night. So that was cool. Yeah.
I mean, this is at their campsite or at their home?
This is at their home. Yeah, they drove like 30 minutes to pick me up and then took me in. Yeah. People are awesome. People are so nice.
How did they know you were, or how did that work?
2 days before. So with this artist grant, I had the camera and it kind of like forced me to talk to every single person I saw.
Yeah.
And they gave me fruit. And April, one of the women, was like, here's my phone number. Reach out if you need anything ever. Like, we totally understand what it's like to be a solo hiker or just a woman on trail. They're like, we want to help you out. And then on 2 days after that, so it's day 10, I was really wanting to shower. So I reached out. Yeah.
Well, we have a question here from Carly asking, have you met any bears on trail?
Yeah, I've met a couple bears. On my through hike, I ran into like 2 bears, I would say, so not too many. Other people sometimes will say like that they'll see more. It was a drought that summer as well, so there weren't as many blueberries as there normally are.
Very sad for your snacking abilities.
Yeah, I feel bad for the bears too. Yeah.
Don't.
As long as you weren't the snack instead of the blueberries. Yeah.
So what type of things help you overcome any fear that might develop when you're on trail?
Ooh. Bringing a dog on trail helps a lot. It keeps my head off being worried about what's coming next. And then just having like your route set up, having people at home that like know what you're going to, when you come home, what's going on. Someone who can kind of like check in on you if you need anything. But yeah, having a dog alongside is probably one of my favorites.
Well, the trip plan is, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, be prepared.
Is this a pit bull, a Great Dane, or what kind of dog are we talking about?
I brought along Alaskan Husky. So Alaskan Huskies are like a mix of a bunch of different sled dogs.
That's cool. So that's a big enough dog that he's going to put up a fight for you. He's going to fight for you. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like a beagle or something going to go, okay, what are you going to do? You know?
No.
Oh, that's cool.
So you mentioned this experience with the woman, but do you have any other crazy, unusual experience that happened to you on trail? Even like a revelation, or I don't know.
I would say one of my favorite days, I don't know if I'd call it crazy, but Bean and Bear Lake is a really popular hiking spot, and it's on the SHT. So it's day like 20 or something, maybe like 18. I went to the site, camped out, and there's this massive lake with a bunch of trout in it. It's super blue, beautiful, and a friend met me at that spot, and we got like everyone at that campsite to jump in the lake, come swimming, and like swing from the rope swing on a tree that was there. It was the best camp day I've ever had. But yeah, so I guess every like trip, the people that I meet are always helpful and just figuring out life stuff or just asking them about things. I made a lot of friends on that through hike though. There were a couple people that sat down at a campsite that I talked to for 4 hours. And last week, like I got a camera in the mail from Ray. He sent me a film camera. Yeah, he was like, oh, I don't have any use for this, and made that like connection. The time like spent talking with other people is incredible out there.
That's so cool.
Can you get film for film cameras anymore? I don't even
You
know.
still can. It's kind of making rebel, like it's kind of coming back.
Yeah, it's a trend now.
Yeah.
It's like LP vinyl records, man. Everything
Exactly.
makes it.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, the records just sound better, and that's how film photography is. Everyone's like, oh, film just looks so much better. So
I have to agree with that. I truly believe that it does. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and you never have to worry about deleting anything. It's just there,
True. And I like that you can't see the pictures right away. It's just, hopefully it turns out.
I'm telling you, there is that something to that instant gratification that we never had back then. And it was always, I wait for a week to see my pictures. And the only bad part about that is, even if they didn't turn out, they'd still develop them and charge you for those yucky pictures or the blurry ones that were just black. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we have a quick question before we take our second commercial break. Cece, did you celebrate any special events, maybe like a birthday or something while you were out on trail?
Oh, I did not. No, nothing. I had a couple friends get like married out while I was on trail. Like they had their weddings and I couldn't make it. So
On
that's
the
like
trail?
a weird. No, not on the trail.
Oh, it's like, wow, how do you do that? How much does the pastor charge to come out there and do it?
Oh no, that'd be cool. No,
Helicopter in,
I didn't celebrate anything like out there on trail, but it was definitely when you set aside time to do a through hike, you have to say no to a lot of things. And I remember like looking at the calendar and being like, this is the day one of my close friends is getting married, and just kind of silently celebrating alone in the woods. Yeah.
Give a phone call or anything like, hey,
yeah, I'd be like, how's it going?
Did you really?
No, I
That's
didn't.
cool.
I should have though.
Or you go, what's the inReach thing? I'm going to text you. Congratulations.
I did send her a text.
Okay, all right, good. Maybe just blow them off or anything like that. That's good. Awesome.
Okay, we're going to take a break, but don't go away. We'll be back with more of The Camping Show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV after these messages.
I love camping, but hate setting up and packing. Sound familiar? With the Sandsbug pop-up tent, you simply toss it in the air. Bug-free in 1 second. Cliff Jacobson, America's most published wilderness expert, has this to say. At well under $100, these tents are a bargain. They are not toys. With a well-designed tarp, they should withstand a long, heavy rain. I'm impressed by the full coverage fly. It stakes right into the ground. No short cap fly for the wind to get under. In all, I think you have an excellent product here, even though it's one designed for casual camping. Namely, the kind of camping most people and scouts do. The Sandsbug has been used by the U.S. and Canadian military, disaster response volunteers in Haiti, ecologists in Madagascar, and doctors in the Amazon. Sandsbug, the quickest tent you've ever pitched. Find us on sandsbug.com.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutubaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
It's time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sights, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
Campmore in Paramus is open, and we're fully stocked with everything you need for your next outdoor adventure. Stop in for safe in-store shopping or buy online with curbside pickup. Check Campmore.com for our latest hours. Campmore, for over 40 years, your outdoor recreation store.
Duluth Pack is handcrafted for every lifestyle, making memories since 1882. In store at 365 Canal Park Drive or online at duluthpack.com.
And we're back with our guest, Cece Boyle, on the camping show. Roxy, can we have you put up Cece's photos, and we'll have her tell us a little bit about each of them, please. There we go.
I think there she is.
There it is. What are we looking at here?
Oh, we're looking at two folks, Arthur, and I forget the other guy's name. I met him on trail, stopped, we chatted, took their photo, and these two guys...
They have a dog, don't they? Yeah.
Two dogs.
They have 2 dogs. Yeah.
Oh, 2 dogs. Right. Yeah.
And yeah, these two guys met on Facebook through a hiking group. And most trails have like these resources where you can talk to other hikers, and they go out every Friday and do like 10-mile stretches.
Oh.
And they were like total strangers and met through this Facebook group and hike like every week. So they were section hiking the trail. Yeah.
So cool. How long have they been doing that, they say?
They said about like a year. It's going to take them a little while to finish it. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Here's a group of folks from the Twin Cities area, and they were just out for a couple of days. I caught them at like the top of this huge lung climb, and I think they were excited to have a little bit of a rest. But they were like, "How much further do we have to go to this lake?"
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And you can tell with their like packs, they're definitely more of a like structured pack. Yeah. So they're carrying a heavier load. But
frame packs.
Frame packs.
Yeah, they look like frame packs. Yeah.
That's a great pack option. And here's the group of women that they all took me in.
These are the people that rescued you and said, "Hey, come on in."
Yeah, and I
use the term rescue loosely.
They had the most incredible food, and I jumped in the lake. It's right on Lake Superior, this little family cabin.
This photo is beautiful.
Yeah, that's so cool.
The lighting's gorgeous. Wow.
Is that you?
That morning. It was like I caught him right in the morning.
You cut out there for a little bit. Is that you on in that picture there?
That's my mom, actually.
Oh wow.
She joined me for 2 nights on trail. Okay. And the fog was lifting, and I was like, stand right here. And we ended up like she took a little snack break. I journaled for a bit on that rock. Then Alice took a little nap in the sun. So
Aww.
And this is the first like women's group I saw. I ran into a lot of Boy Scout groups, and then this was a group of high school girls with 2 like college age guides, and we shared a campsite that night. Oh. And they were the most like fun group of girls. It was cool getting to meet them all.
That's cool.
Yeah. Here's like 2 moms. They were away from their kids. They kept saying, I ran into them a couple times. And then we finally got to this high point, and we met at this spot. But they were trying to get cell service to see how their kids were doing. So as much as they wanted to be out there, a little part of them was wondering what home.
They didn't have an in-reach, did they?
No. I don't know.
Right.
So, yeah. And then this is like a mother and son pair. And the mom, she had like 2 daughters older than the son. And she was like, I picked the right kid to bring on this hiking trip. And she said her son, he was not the most athletic, not the strongest one, but he was like consistent and wouldn't complain. And it was really cool to see a woman or like just a mom taking her son out. I think a lot of times you see like scouts or different groups like that are more like male dominated. And I just thought it was cool.
I also like their Crocs.
Yeah. And the mom was the most like, she was like just glowing out there on trail. She was so happy. And they were excited to take their day 0 and watch the Olympics. And the Olympics were going on during the hike. Yeah. They were just really real nice people. And this is at the same campsite. So this was the one with the lake where everyone swam and jumped in. And this couple gave me tequila actually after I took this photo. And I drank it out of my like cooking pot. But you can see a little bit of their cooking setup, and they have a jet boil, and they're just heating up some water for their instant meals.
Very simple setup, right? Yeah.
Yeah, very simple. And then this is my friend Mandy. We ended up hiking together a lot of days on trails, and we message each other on Instagram and have met up for beers since.
Interesting.
And yeah, she was like recently laid off from her job, and for like COVID, they shut down. So she took this like time that she had off to do the thru hike and got everything together in like a month or so, which it took me about 6 months to prep for the trip, and I was impressed by that. But the coolest part about Mandy is like, I think a lot of people find themselves at like this weird in-between point where they have time, they don't have a ton of money, and then they find themselves on the trail. And so it was cool learning from her. Yeah.
That's a very common thing, which I think is extremely cool.
Yeah.
Very therapeutic.
Yeah, and it's fun having so many like almost not lost souls, but people that are a little like wandering through life all together at a campsite talking about stuff. So
absolutely.
This guy we called Straw Hat Man. I don't remember his name at all, but he was fast. We saw him once and then he was gone, but he had done the AT, was very dialed in with his gear.
Oh wow.
So lots of different like types of hikers, I would say, that through hike. You don't have to be.
It looks very like a diverse group of people.
Yeah.
And
then here's Ray on the right, the guy who sent me a camera last week.
Wow.
And they were not through hikers. We were at a campsite. Mandy and my friend Krista, we like were hiking together. We'd met that morning, and we like show up, and this couple's there. And we just sat down and chatted with them for 4 hours. I want to be his
friend.
Yeah. So total strangers, but we became friends really quick.
Very cool.
And then this lady was also a mom who left her kids and her husband and was like, see ya, I'm taking 15 days to solo through hike. And I only got to chat with her pretty briefly. There was like a walking section where there's cell service. So I think she had her phone ring or something and she was off. But
yeah,
a lot of the like stops when I was talking to people on trail were like, where's the water? It was a drought when I did the hike. And then like, how much further do I need to go? And this lady was a section hiker as well. And an older woman who was just trying to complete her goal of finishing this trail. They're from Wisconsin, I think. So a haul to get up here. Yeah, this guy, ultralight dude from Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, super happy, jolly guy. He was a little overwhelmed, though. I had passed him at a time where there like what he had ahead of him was like 20 miles of no water. So
wow.
He was like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That is stressful.
And then this is Arthur again. So the guy from the first picture I saw twice on trail, which is crazy to run into someone once, to have like the stars align that you meet them, and then twice. So this is Arthur and his daughter, and then her dog. And Arthur was so dialed in with his gear. He gave me a lot of tips and tricks. Like I had Nutella with, and he was like, don't put Nutella. Like he's like, take it out of the jar and then put it in a plastic bag. You can cut weight. So he was really insightful on how to cut weight. I think a lot of older people, not older people, but people that are like wiser, definitely like are into the cutting weight thing, and you can learn a lot from them. And then this is my pal Krista, who I met on trail, and we ended up meeting day 15 or something, and I hiked most of the trail with her. So I didn't, as a solo hiker, you often can meet strangers, and we wouldn't hike every day together. It was like we'd hike for a little bit, and then she'd like stop for a while, and then we'd catch up and camp in the same spot. So our like campsites were the same, but we weren't walking together all day, which is nice.
It's cool. Very cool.
Okay, I think our pictures are done. So I have to ask, what's the most amazing thing that you photographed during your adventures?
One day it rained a ton, and then the humidity and sun all came out, and there's like a crazy cloud inversion. And I have more pictures linked on my website, and that one's definitely in there. It was a cool weather feature that doesn't really happen in the Midwest, so that was cool.
That is cool. And so, from your experience, what type of recommendations do you have for someone who's interested in packing camera equipment on the trail for backpacking?
A little bit there. What did you say?
Oh, she cut out a little bit there.
Cut out.
Oh, there we go.
There we
Okay.
go. She's back.
Wait, what question did you ask, Willow? Sorry.
So, from your experience, what type of recommendations do you have for someone who's interested in packing camera equipment on a trail for backpacking?
Pick one lens, bring your lightest camera if you have one. And if you don't have a ton of camera gear, an iPhone does a great job, or just your phone. And then bringing backup batteries is a good call as well. And some people will mount their cameras like on the strap of their backpack, but I'd highly recommend. I just throw mine in the pack and take it out when I need it.
You don't have issues like you always want to take photos, so you're like, oh, I have to stop to get my pack off.
It definitely slows you down. Like, it's a nice kind of slower pace that you have to move at. But
Okay.
there has been moments where it's like, oh, I want to take a picture, but yeah.
Well, we're running down in 2 minutes, but I got to ask you real quick, what kind of camera and lens do you pack, just for other people who are going, I don't know what to take? What do you
Yeah.
have?
I bring my top of the line camera, a Canon R5 with a 35 millimeter lens. So something that's a little bit wider. For this project specifically, I wanted closer to a portrait lens.
Okay.
So the 35, but a wide angle lens, like a 24 millimeter, would do really well to just get the whole landscape in there.
Interesting. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
And where can our viewers and listeners go to follow you on social media and check out your website?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Cece Boyle Photos, or Cece 2Cs.Boyle. And then Cece Backpacks is where I covered and shared the whole entire trip on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, not too active on there. And then my website has a pretty good amount of updates, www.ceceboyle.com.
You got some great photos on that site. I took a look at them like, hey, excellent work here, by the way.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, we'd like to thank you, Cece, for being our guest here on the camping show this evening. It was a pleasure having you here with us.
We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Sandsbug, Campground Views, Rutabaga Paddle Sports, Camp Moore, Duluth Pack, for bringing you tonight's show.
Be sure to tune in for next week's episode, The Best Way to Find and Book Campsites, with our special guest, Mark Koepp.
Until then, thank you for tuning into the camping show.
This is C.W. Getz
and Willow Munson,
reminding you,
learn more,
do more. See you next week.
Bye.